Before the Armageddon challenge even starts, I've already messed up. And the worst part is, I'm not sure I'm going to fix it in time. This week, I'm trying to do the Armageddon challenge, where I'm trying to do the entire Space Marine half of the box within 24 hours. I've ran into a couple of problems already, and it's putting a few things at risk. I also am not sure if they're going to look good before I even start painting them. So let's just get into it. First, I'm doubting the paint scheme, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off. So the paint scheme itself is basically utilized by Squidmar Miniatures with Lucas's Black Templars. Now here he does NMM on everything, on the gold, on the silver, and these guys have bolt guns rather than swords, so it's a little bit harder to achieve that look on the bolt guns and the light placement, which I haven't actually done before. The NMM itself I've got a fair amount of practice on. I did it all on Helbrecht and that seemed to do okay, but this is going to be NMM on quite a few miniatures and I'm kind of worried about it. Another thing is I converted the banner, so I've basically got rid of the sculpted banner and taken a risk. I've basically done my own out of some plasticard and some green stuff to try and blend it in and sculpt it onto the actual banner pole itself. But even though I think the banner itself looks cool and I've actually managed to pull off the banner itself, if the freehand doesn't look good, it's just not going to sell the effect of the army. I have a few art references here that I can try and use, but ultimately it's a big risk trying to do this amount of freehand in this short space of time. The next problem I've encountered is the shoulder pads on all of the minis. Now push fit minis always have this famous thing, in fact, that because the shoulder pads aren't a separate piece, they're basically all molded onto the same model. And that means that if you have a mold line running through the middle of the model, it's going to go directly over the shoulder pad. And I want these shoulder pads to be very, very smooth. But some of these mold lines have actually deformed the shoulder pad itself, and it's not looking good. I spent a lot of time cleaning up the shoulder pads with various different files and different grits of it to try and make it as smooth as possible. Also, there are details on the models that I've removed because I thought it would save me some time painting, but realistically it might not have, and I've added more details to the models as well, which also concerns me. So I think I've really underestimated the time that it's actually going to take to do these models. And that leads me on to the next problem, underestimated time. It's taken me quite a while to adjust everything to the point that I'm quite happy with it. I'm not actually sure that I'm sold on the look yet, which is a concerning place to be in right now, but I feel like the models will look cool when they're actually finished with all the conversion bits. Like the chains and the candles, I do think they're all going to read quite well, but it really needs to be executed correctly in the painting step, or else it's really not going to read correctly for these boys in this box. Also, prep. I rushed this a lot. I basically tried to get all this done and built everything like that ready for my painting in a couple of days, and it's basically led to me rushing a few aspects of this. So I haven't really had time to properly sculpt the bases. I've sculpted them so I think they look pretty cool, but they're a bit too tall, so I'm not sure if that will read as the way I want it to read for these miniatures, but it's not the biggest problem I have right now, but it is certainly one to consider. And the actual model issue themselves, I think the character minis in this box are fantastic. I think that the intercessors, however, have problems in the fact that you've got a lot of mold lines in areas that are awkward to remove, and I've been having to use a scalpel quite a lot to get rid of them, and all of that sort of thing adds time. And also with the sort of some details I wanted to remove, like the Aquillas, because the Aquillas look okay, but in trying to do NMM on the Aquillas in this amount of time also won't work. So I've decided to remove those just like they did in the tutorial, and I'm going to see if I can make that work. I thought it would be simple, but I didn't factor in everything laid out here. So in terms of the actual preparation for this, I've started to assemble the models as usual, clip them all out, and all that good stuff. However, whenever I try to assemble a model, sometimes I have to remove the pegs and just put them together that way, because I think the push fit does work most of the time, but sometimes it just doesn't quite line up properly, or there's a big gap between the two pieces, and that just doesn't look good. And every time I fixed that issue, another one appeared, which was the mold lines, as discussed. Now, I think, as you can see in this photo, the mold lines are crazy on some of these Vanguard vets. The Vanguard vets are probably the worst contenders for this, because they're in one piece. That's where the mold line sat. So it was really hard to get these shoulder pads smooth, and it took a lot of time to try and do so. It's not a position I would want to be in again if I wanted to build these Vanguard vets. To be honest, I could have just bought JPI and some power sword arms and converted them, and they would probably look a little bit better than they do now. The captain though, super happy with how this conversion came out. Like I had to remove the hair, had to remove some of the details. I did retain some of the details on this miniature because I think the detail on this miniature is probably one of the selling points. But I did try and Black Templar up a little bit by putting some candles on there and wrapping some chains around his awesome power sword. Also, the candles kept snapping off, which is a surprise to no one because it's a candle with super glue. So what I had to do was remove the candle, then glue it back on, and then put more super glue on it, and then use activator. This super glue, this additional super glue on top is going to give me a few bonuses in the fact that I can paint this and make it look like running wax. So it's going to give me that bonus. However, this also still took more time, which leads me on to the next 3 issues. Number 1 is the time pressure. I've put a lot of pressure on myself to get this finished. I've also got a lot of models to paint. Now, obviously, if I don't get it done in the 24 hours, I'm not going to rush it, but the time pressure here is certainly a limiting factor, especially with the color scheme I'm trying to achieve here. And I don't want it to look like I've speed painted it. I want it to look good, which leads me on to the next issue, which is uncertainty. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this scheme off. It's a lot of NMM, it's a lot of detailed work, it's lots of some OSL as well on the candles. I've got a couple of cheat ways I can do that on the bright side, but I still feel like this is going to be quite difficult. So yeah, at this point, I'm not sure I can finish the challenge in time, but I'm going to go into some positive points. I think the conversions on a few of these guys, when they're finished and I've cleaned everything up, are looking really swish. I'm really, really happy with the intercessors now that they're all finished. I'm really happy with the details I've removed. The banner, I'm really happy with the structure of the banner and the fact that it's turned out really well using the plasticard. The Vanguard Vets, I've finally managed to clean up and I'm quite happy with them. The Chaplain and the Captain model look amazing. I love those miniatures. And the Land Speeder, to be fair to the Land Speeder, it was a dream to assemble. Absolute dream to assemble, and I only had to glue a few candles on that and it was finished. I did have to sculpt the bases there, but I think the sculpted bases are gonna look really good. I did go through a lot of Milliput, but it's gonna make them look really, really unique and cool, which I'm really excited to try and do. So yeah, they're assembled, they look cool. I'm happy with where I've got them to now. The minis looking swish. I'm really excited to paint them. I've got a brand new wet palette, which is really exciting to me. And I'm really excited to try and get these guys done. So yeah, but the Armageddon challenge hasn't even begun yet. And I feel like I'm already behind. But Thursday is where it actually begins. I'm not sure how it's gonna go.